Welcome to another episode of the Alamo City Sportscast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast live from beautiful West San Antonio, and remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
What's up, San Antonio? What's going on, South Texas? This is the Alamo City Sportscast coming at you from the west side of San Antonio, West Bexar County, actually. Now, first and foremost, me and technology suck, and I'm doing this from home today. Can you all hear me in the chat? Can someone tell me on the chat? Can you hear me? Does it sound okay? Because typically I don't wear the headset, but I decided to use it today. So come on, please tell me, is it working today? Is it working today? So people might be asking, well, where's Joe? Joe typically produces the show, but I will let you know I'm going to be flying solo for the next 3 weeks or so because Joe has his new job with the Department of Homeland Security. He's in training right now, and we're going to make it so, hopefully, that he has his new job being around noon so that we can maintain the show at the normal time that we do it at. But again, we're going to go for about an hour or so. Again, there's no Joe. So who's keeping me company today? You guys are keeping me company today because you are live right now along with our YouTube stream. Lots of comments coming on in. I see them all, baby. I see them all. Me and technology suck, but I figured it out. Sorry for being 10 minutes late. We have Chris Gonzalez in the house. Mario Cavazos. Hi, man. Very nice. I don't recognize that name. Charlie Hernandez. Chris Gonzalez again. Sith Elias. Chris Leha. Hey, man. Good morning, JHNSB. Good morning to all of you guys. Progressives in here. Lots of people already talking about Patty Mills. Hi, man, coming out with a comment saying, Patty Mills went off despite the L, and damn straight he did. Damn straight. 26 points today in Australia's loss to Serbia, 95-90. It's kind of hard to beat a team that has Nikola Jokic going off as well, but it went into overtime. Australia bounced to the playoffs. 35-year-old Patty Mills no longer that should be his last Olympic game, right? He's one of the top scorers of all time in Olympics history. I believe he's in the top 6, if I'm not mistaken. And the question that I have this morning is this the last of Patty Mills? Patty Mills is a free agent in the NBA. His contract is up with the Miami Heat. That was the last team he was with. And I feel bad for Patty because Patty is somebody who was a big part of the Spurs team for so many years. And to see him bounce around from Atlanta to Brooklyn to Miami and never even sniff the court half the time really kind of upset me because he's a Spur through and through. So I have the question on Twitter at MJ Acquired Taste. Should the Spurs retire Patty Mills' jersey? Patty Mills, a fan favorite for so many years, nearly a decade, a fan favorite. He's a champion with the Spurs. He was a big part of the team, a big part of the culture. But right now, when you look at the Spurs rafters, you have the legends. You know, you have Iceman, George Gervin, David Robinson, Tim Duncan. You've got the legends up there. But on the other side, you know, Tony Parker, Manu, legends, Hall of Famers. But on the other side, the Spurs have also retired the jerseys of Bruce Bowen, Johnny Moore, Avery Johnson. There are players that the Spurs have retired jerseys for that would not have been retired by any other team. Okay, the Lakers would never have retired Bruce Bowen's jersey. They never would have retired Avery Johnson's jersey if he played with them and had the same accolades or the same type of performances, right? But we do, because that's what the Spurs do, right? That's why Johnny Moore's up there and Avery Johnson and all of those guys. But Patty Mills, I think, is a very, very interesting thing because I think you can make an argument both ways when it comes to it, man. I think Patty Mills is a great ambassador for this team. I would love to see his jersey retired because personally, I'm going to side with the idea that yes, we would retire. Sid Elias coming on saying, good thing you have radio experience, bro. We trust you. Okay, that's right, baby. Can I fly alone? Can I do a solo show without anybody there? I used to do it for 3 hours. And by the way, Facebook reminded me today that it was my 5-year anniversary of having that audition with Minix and Rob Thompson on air today. And I watched that interview. It was mortifying. I was so bad on the radio the first time they had me on there. But what do you guys think? Should the Spurs go off and retire Patty Mills' jersey? Because I say yes. I'd say most definitely yes. Don't even hide it. Because the fact of the matter is that we probably have seen the last of Patty Mills. Patty Mills is a free agent. I read about an hour ago an article of his where he was interviewed back in June. So this was about a month and a half ago. And it was a Miami Herald article asking the question to Patty Mills about his free agency. And he's under the impression that he's coming back to the NBA. He's under the impression that he's going to be extending his career. I don't think that's the case. I think Patty's done. I think it's delusional to think that Patty Mills is going to come back to the NBA. I think it's delusional to think that he's going to be a big part of any team. Dude, Atlanta barely played him. Miami barely played him. Brooklyn, I mean, for a while they was balling in Brooklyn, but they took him out of the lineup. At some point, you have to kind of come to the realization that your career is over. Zed's dead over on Twitter. We all know and love her. She's a boomer. She's from Australia. She was coming grips with this fact earlier this morning that, you know what, this could be the last time, as she said, that she would see Patty Mills in a Boomers jersey, an Australian jersey. He got knocked out. This is the last of it, dude. I don't think we're going to see him ever again in a jersey, man. I think that this is done. But I have the poll out on Twitter, and already lots of people are already reacting to this. 61 votes in the first 30 minutes. 59% saying no, 41% saying yes. Bear County Social Apparel reaches out to us on Twitter and says, love Patty Mills, but no. Zed's Dead says, only after we bring him back for another season. I like it. Edgar says no, and they should also remove Avery Johnson and Johnny Moore. That's brutal. Eric says no. Deontay Rose coming out and saying that he thinks they will. He thinks they will. Garrett in the Netherlands is saying, hell yes. Good morning to Tex-Mex Frank saying, buenos dias. Thank you so much for the love and support. Tex-Mex Frank the other day was sporting Alamo City Sportscast gear the other day. I know Mario Cavazos has it as well. Sam Salinas says, morning, Mike. Thanks for talking me off the ledge yesterday. Yeah, I had to take the day off from the show yesterday because I do finance. I do investments and insurances. Market went haywire yesterday. It's bounced back some today. But it was a one-day hemorrhage there, and people got concerned, and I had to put a kibosh on the show for a little while. Chris Gonzalez says, if we retire Patty's jersey, it'll be right after he retires. If we wait, then he will not get it retired. Lots of people saying good morning. Bear County Social Apparel is talking about how they shouldn't have retired certain jerseys out there, specifically talking about Johnny Moore and Avery Johnson. JHNSB, wish the market had dropped a little bit more. Again, buy low, sell high, man. That's basically it. I called a lot of clients yesterday and said, guess what? Everything's on sale. What do you want to buy? What do you want to buy? There's no panic. Jimenez clients don't panic, man. We don't. We just keep fighting through. I tell people all the time, investment knowledge is basically saying to invest like a firefighter. When a house is on fire, a building's on fire, everyone runs out and the firefighters run in. We invest like firefighters with Team Jimenez over here because we run into the burning building. That's what we do. But Bear County Social Apparel reaching out saying, shout out to Brando and Sith for doing their wrestling thing over the weekend. I wanted to go, but I had tickets to go see Bone Thugs and Ice Cube. But from what it sounds like and all the videos and whatnot, it appears as though it was a very successful event. That's what we do here at the Bear County Social, at the Alamo City Podcast Network. We throw good parties. We had that party over at Pete's Place for the NBA draft and the Spurs draft party. That was fantastic at Pete's Place. What Brandon and Sith did for the wrestling thing, that's good, man. It's content that we're creating, man, and we're glad to have everybody back on the show and be part of the network. This is the People's Podcast, is what this is. Now, over the weekend, I went with some friends to go see Ice Cube, Bone Thugs and Harmony, E40. It was a great concert over at the Frost Bank Center. I loved it. I loved every part of it. I tell you what, man, I know the headliner was Ice Cube, and don't get me wrong, Today Was a Good Day is an incredible song, and a lot of the songs he has there, obviously I recognize from the 90s. But, dude, the second Bone Thugs went out there, I lost my mind. And it was funny because I was talking to my friends who were sitting down for some reason at this point. We had floor seats, but everyone stands up for the most part. And I turned to my friend, and he was talking about, one of the singers was talking about government cheese. He goes, hey, man, remember back in the day when we would get government cheese? And I looked over at my friends and I was all screaming, "Get up! They're gonna sing first of the month. They're gonna sing first of the month." And of course, first of the month starts, and I got all excited. It was great times, man. Sis saying that my aunt says, "quote My aunt left that concert high from the contact." Baby, there was pot everywhere that night. There was pot everywhere, and I'm not saying that I took part or not, but let's just say that everyone got some sort of high. Hand of a fist says he loves Bone Thugs. Wish he could have gone. Bear County asking, was I singing along to the Thuggish Ruggish Bone? It's the Thuggish Ruggish Bone. Yes, of course I did, man. Of course I did. E40 was also good, man. It was so funny, man. One of the, I think it was E40 that was on stage, goes, "Rick, everyone scream if you're older than 30." And everyone started screaming. And he goes, "Everyone scream if you're older than 40." And I was looking around going, what is he doing here? Then he said, "Everyone scream if you're 50 or older." And I was like, what is this, man? We're showing our age, baby. We're showing our age. Hand of a fist was like, E40 was there too. Damn. It was a good show, man. Do you know who wasn't there that I thought was going to be was Juvenile? I had read that Juvenile was part of the tour at some point, and I was so excited because, slow motion and back that ass up and all that stuff. Those were great songs from back in the day. That was fun, man. Uh, uh, let me see here. Chris Gonzalez says, Jimenez, your friends were like that commercial. First time home buyers turn out to be like their parents. Oh, I remember that one. Okay, I got you. Yeah. That's funny, man. This was a good show, man. It was a good show. But, man, let's talk about Patty, man. Patty Mills' career with the Spurs. I mean, think about all that he did for the organization. Think about because Patty Mills, when you close your eyes and you think about Patty, and I know today he had 26 points, knocked down like 12 buckets. The guy was getting buckets today, man. Costly turnover, though. Goes into overtime. Nikola Jokic takes over. I understand that. But I'm looking at Patty Mills' career right now, and I'm asking myself the question, why not? Why not? Why not have him in the Raptors? He joined the team back in 2011, played all the way till 2021 with the Spurs, a decade with the Spurs. He averaged about 10 points per game while he was with this team. He was a backup. He was a sixth man, seventh man most of the time. But he was part of the 2013 run in Miami that Ray Allen stole that from us. He was part of the 2014 team. We talk about the big three, Tim, Tony, and Manu. But you can't tell the story of the Spurs of that run in the 2010s without Patty Mills. And I think that Patty Mills did so much for the community. He was so popular. I mean, you go to the Rue Pub on 281 Redland Road, and I know it's Australian themed, but there's a lot of Patty Mills gear out there. There was a ton of fans out there who were very, very, very big fans. And someone is telling me right now that it's David Robinson's birthday. Chris Gonzalez saying it is David Robinson's birthday. And I have a tall tale for David Robinson. If you, August 6th, 1965. That means that today he is 59 years old. David Robinson is 59 years old today. Happy birthday to 50, baby. Happy birthday to 50. I have another David Robinson tall tale, if you guys want to hear it. I might have mentioned this in the past. I'm not sure. I don't think I have, though. So I mentioned the other day how David Robinson interrupted a date I had back in the day when I was in my early 20s. I was at Northwest 14 Theaters taking this girl out on a date, and I was at the concession stand, and because he recognized me from being media, I was doing interviews post game and whatnot. He leaned into us and said, "I hope Michael's treating you right," and that was funny. The other David Robinson tall tale I have is something that happened at Incarnate Word back in the day. Before there was the AT&T Center and SBC Center, and before there was the Rocket La Cantera, the Spurs used to practice over at Incarnate Word. And one day, working at KSAT, I went over to Incarnate Word to watch the games, and I noticed that David Robinson's kid had walked out of the complex. He had walked out of the gym. It's a small gym over there back in the day. And I just noticed it. and I ran around the corner and I caught up with the kid. The kid was kind of just not running far away, but he was along the sidewalk outside of the gym, and I picked him up and I carried him back into the gym. He didn't go further than 10 or 15 feet away from the door, but still, he was not supposed to be out there. Man, 5-0 gave me a look. He gave me a look of like, what the hell are you doing with my kid? And I just remember telling him, he got out. Like, he got out. He walked out. And I put him back down. And the nanny, who was supposed to be watching all of his kids, got a talking to. And so I'm not saying that this kid was walking. I think it was Corey, I think his name was, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not saying that he was out in the middle of traffic or he was in danger or anything. But I did notice that he had gotten out away from his nanny and had gotten out of the building. So promise you that happened a long, long time ago. But David Robinson, 59 years old today, man. Fantastic. Hand of a fist saying, let's start a Patty Mills retirement jersey petition. Run it back up to the SSE, Spurs Sports and Entertainment. Very nice. Very nice. But a great concert again this weekend. Phenomenal concert this weekend. Excited about that. So I got some another concert that I'm going to be going to. I believe it's in October. I'm going to go check out Post Malone. So Posty going to be checking him out over at the Germania Amphitheater out in Austin. That's what I'm doing these days, baby. I'm just going out and just going to events, man. Went to the Astros game a couple of weeks ago. Went to this concert. Going to get Post Malone. Just going to be out and about doing things, man. I'm looking forward to UTSA football. UTSA on September 7th. I know they play Kennesaw State first, right? And that's going to be an easy win. The UTSA Roadrunners go into San Marcos to go play UTSA I-35 rivalry. And I have a lot of friends of mine, especially the ones that I tailgate with, who are pissed because I'm telling them that I might wear Texas State gear while I'm there. Is this fair or foul? Because I think I'm grandfathered into all of this. Keep in mind, I'm a UTSA graduate. I graduated from UTSA the summer, August 2001. Like 4 weeks before 9/11, I walked the stage. And when I was at UTSA, the T-shirts that they sold at the school was UTSA football still undefeated because they didn't have a team. I only spent 2 semesters at UTSA, right? 2 semesters, got my degree. But I spent 2.5 years over at Texas State, back then when it was called SWT, Southwest Texas State University. And I would go to the football games over there. Heck, I dated a strutter, one of the strutters who does the dancing over there at the games there at Bobcat Stadium. I was a Bobcat for 2.5 years. I cheer for UTSA because I went there. I graduated from there. I go to their tailgates. It's easier for me to go. But here's the secret. I go to about 3 UTSA football games a year, maybe 4. I also go to about 1 or 2 Texas State games a year as well. Okay, so I still go to their games. Okay, maybe not 2 a year. I go to at least 1 a year. And I'm going to go to that game September 7th there at Bobcat Stadium, exit 206, San Marcos, Texas. I have love for that school too. I love for both schools. One is my diploma is orange and blue. It says UTSA, but my sophomore years before I dropped out to become a TV news reporter were spent at Texas State. If I hadn't have gotten that TV reporting gig in Corpus Christi at KIII back in the day, I never would have left Texas State. But life took me in that direction. Ooh, Sam Selena says, total foul. Your diploma says UTSA. You know, I'm 2 semesters shy of a degree from Texas State. Journalism degree. Sith is asking, could she make it clap with no hands? I'm assuming you're talking about my ex in college, right? Yeah, she was pretty hot. She was pretty hot. She goes, oh, I thought you said stripper. No, the Strutters. Look them up, man. Texas State Strutters. They've got like a pep squad dance team that is like hundreds of women. Not bad, man. Chris Gonzalez says, I thought we decided that you were going to cheer for the road team, UTSA versus Texas State. GJ Kenny's the head coach over there at Texas State. And, I believe he was the offensive coordinator at Washington State, went over to UIW, turned that program around. They became a playoff team, goes off. He has very strong ties to the family of UTSA's head coach. And the guy's a mercenary. The guy is going to be a Power 5 head coach in the next 2 or 3 years. He's not there to plant roots. He's there to build his resume. And I tell you what, man, GJ Kenny's legit. And Texas State actually went to a bowl game last year, and they typically don't. That's a well-coached team. If I go out there and I start sporting Texas State gear, I went to that school, man. I have photos. I could post photos of me in college at frat parties and stuff like that at SWT, at Texas State. It became Texas State the semester I left, by the way. But if I go to that game, well, I am going to go to that game. So maybe I'll wear a Texas State hat and UTSA shirt. UTSA hat, Texas State shirt. Maybe I'll get ones customly made saying divided. We'll figure that out, baby. July 26th saying, thought you graduated at Career Point. Thanks, Career Point. Love it. Sith is asking, are they better than the Spurs hype squad? Yeah, because they got hot women there. And he's asking if I've seen the movie Grease yet. Now Sith is also, it's so funny because you guys call him my son, right? Now he's an official member of the podcast network because he's doing the spaces and he's doing all the wrestling content with Brandon Big Papi Medina. Take a look at the movies that Sith says he's never seen, like Fight Club and movies like that from the late 90s, early 2000s. He's making me ask the question, wait a minute, you haven't seen that movie? Fight Club's amazing, by the way. I just saw it again the other day. Sam Salinas reaches out and says on our YouTube stream, you were at a party school, Southwest Texas State, not chip on their shoulder, living in UTSA's shadow, Texas State. Oh, my God. I like seeing the sororities talk crap to each other. My favorite one was UTSA girls say that the Texas State women are easier than the admission standards at Texas State. Brutal, baby. Brutal. Hey, talk about the Olympics, by the way. Mentioned how Patty Mills got knocked out of the Olympics. Australia lost 95-90 in overtime to Serbia today. Serbia going to advance into the semifinals, where there will also be, we're going to see Germany in there. Lots of NBA talent there. Franz Wagner and guys like that over at Germany. They've been playing pretty well. They knocked out Giannis and Greece. So we have 2 teams already in the semifinals. Today at 11 a.m., in about 25 minutes, Victor Wembanyama takes the court as Team France takes on Canada. France with a humiliating loss earlier in the Olympics. But now we're in the knockout stages. And then later today at 2:30, we have the United States, LeBron, Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, all those guys taking on Brazil at 2:30. That should be an easy win. But then it gets down to the nitty-gritty. If it's Serbia, Germany, U.S., and either France or Canada, those are going to be the 4 best teams anyway. It's coming down to form, so very, very nice. Who's saying this? JHNSB, France wasn't supposed to make it this far. When you have Wemby and when you have Rudy Gobert, I know they have no guard play. Man, they have no guard play. Old NBA players trying to play guard against 23 and 24-year-olds. Not going to happen, man. Not going to happen. JHNSB saying France is going to get whooped. I wouldn't be surprised, man. You got SGA on the other side. Garrett from the Netherlands saying, just wanted to shout out for the 3-on-3 basketball gold winners, the Netherlands last night. That's right. Team USA and Jimmer Fredette lost over the weekend. Congrats to the Netherlands. Hand of a fist saying, disappointed my girl Sha'Carri Richardson got second. It's been interesting. There have been a lot of upsets in a lot of different things. I mean, the 100-meter dash the other day, where that American won, even though his His foot was in third place, but his torso was in first. Everyone just getting pissed off their minds right now because they're like, well, how did this guy's foot cross the line first? But we've now learned the rules. The rules are it's the torso that matters. And he was sticking it out like this, and that was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Fun to watch, baby. Fun to watch. I mean, what Olympic things are you excited about? Because to me, to be honest with you, I don't get off into gymnastics, man. I mean, I know seeing Simone Biles, and by the way, Simone Biles being criticized by some people for some weird reason because she honored the person who won the gold in front of her. She stepped out of bounds in one of her floor routines, got second place as a result, and she did a bow to the person who won first. And a lot of people are all pissed off about that, saying, how dare she do that? How dare she do that? She's an American. She should stand up proud and all that stuff. Shut the hell up. July 26th. Did you see the pole vaulter who lost because of his bulge? Oh, my God. I wish we could show the video of this. There's a pole vaulter who's trying to clear it, and he did clear it, right? Everything cleared but his dick. His penis hit the bar and forced the bar off, and he lost because of it. His entire body cleared, his head, his shoulders, his torso, his legs, his feet, all crossed over. And on the way back down, his dick hit the pole, his dick hit the bar. You can say it's a game of inches, right? Seth coming out saying Simone is the GOAT. And you know what? She's standing by her man. She's got that NFL husband who seems to be a little bit of a narcissist, but she stands by him. She's in love. Sotero saying that guy has a promising porn career. LOL. I mean, the dude was like Dirk Diggler trying to play pole vault. I mean, what the hell was going on there? And some of these outfits, like there was a synchronized swimming one that I saw the other day, asking the question, "What sport is this?" And you can basically see the woman's entire hoo-ha. It was all full display. And yes, I said hoo-ha. I am that old. And of a fist asking the question about that female hurdler that one time lose because of her ass. That's right. I remember that. Jesse Martinez, is that really an L then? You know? I mean, his whole body crossed over. If you haven't seen it, Google it. It is the funniest thing. I'm sure it's all over TikTok. The dude was completely over the bar. Completely over it. And it's like, you know, if his, pecker was a couple inches smaller, he'd be like a gold medalist. But nope. It literally grabbed onto the pole. It was funny. Sis saying he had the same crotch as Ben Stiller in Dodgeball. Uh-oh, we have do we have a shams bomb here? Let's see here. Thank you for alerting me. I can't normally I'm online while doing the show when Joe's producing the show. Okay, shams bomb 1 minute ago. Thank you for alerting me. NBA All-Star Lauri Markkanen and the Utah Jazz are expected to agree to a massive long-term contract and signed Wednesday or later, making him untradeable for the entire 2024-2025 season, sources tell Ty Jones on the NBA. So it wasn't a shams bomb. It was a Tony Jones bomb. Tony Jones getting that story. He, by the way, he covers the Utah Jazz for The Athletic. So it's a legit thing. Let's talk about this. Well, that means the Spurs can't get him at the trade deadline. That was the whole thing. And now the entire thing about how the 2025 free agency class was going to be epic has kind of just gone away. We've seen a lot of the star players, and that's the thing. They want to have long-term security, and the idea of we're just going to let them play it out isn't reality, man. It sounds good. It sounds like, oh, well, they can become a free agent. It's not a reality. You know, we saw this with Jason Tatum. We saw this with Jaylen Brown. We saw this now with Lauri Markkanen and Paul George. All of these players who have 1 year left on their deal, and everyone's like, well, they can just play it out and then hit the market as a free agent. They're worried about tearing an ACL or an MCL. They're worried about hamstring issues and them losing their ability to get the money that they could have gotten had they gotten it earlier. You know, bird in hand is the old expression, right? Bird in hand. And now the Spurs have to figure out what's what, because the Spurs cannot build a team around Wemby by itself, right? Wemby by himself is not going to be it. Spurs got Stephon Castle. That's a big piece. Devin Vassell's a big piece, and hopefully Jeremy Sohan is as well. But you need to get talent to come in outside of the draft. The Spurs would not have won with just Tim, Tony, and Manu. They needed other players. They needed the Oris of the world. They needed the Claxtons of the world. They needed the Patty Millses of the world to come in to round out the team. Wemby is obviously the big piece of the puzzle, but everyone around him, the Spurs need talent, and the Spurs are going to have to trade for that talent or somehow miraculously keep winning lotteries. Right now, if the Spurs go off and win the lottery next year and get Cooper Flagg, well, then you could build it that way. But in the absence of that, what's going on? In the absence of that, are you going to go after a Trae Young? Are you going to go after a player like that? Because it's an arms race right now in the NBA. Have the Spurs gotten better? Yes, they have. Getting Harrison Barnes to be the starting small forward over Julian Champagnie is a big deal. Getting CP3 to come in to mentor Trey Jones and Stephon Castle and to start at point guard is a big deal. But that's only going to get you so far. That's going to get you to 35 to 36 wins. To get you to 45 to 50 wins to be a contender, you need a star player next to Wemby. And that star ain't going to be Devin Vassell. That star player is not going to be Jeremy Sohan. They are just puzzle pieces. Vassell is a better puzzle piece. He's a 19-point per game kind of guy. And you see Sohan doing the little stuff, but Sohan's not going to be the second coming of Kawhi Leonard. Stop it. He's not. He can't shoot. Okay? Stop it. He can play defense, though. And that's where he's going to make his name with his team. Get some rebounds, play some defense. Do that. The wild card in all this is Stephon Castle. Can Stephon Castle develop into a star player? He's the number 4 pick overall in the draft. You know, you're supposed to be good at that point. But Lauri Markkanen being gone is a little bit upsetting. But the price tag to get him was probably so high anyway. 6, 7 first rounders. Nah, man, that ain't it. So the Spurs got to do something. They got to get a piece that is disgruntled someplace else. You know, I'm not kind of like how Dame Lillard was, but not Dame Lillard, right? It's just somebody who was kind of like that. Hand of a Fist reaches out to us on our YouTube stream saying nobody wanted to pay the price. That's true. JHNSB says, good luck with that, Lauri. Stay on a mid-team. That's very true. There's Sith coming out saying we never needed Lauri. We have Champagnie. Gosh, Champagnie sucks so bad. Dude, all these Spurs fans that are out there, and you know who they are, man. They're the other, big talkers on Spurs Twitter coming out and saying Champagnie has improved so dramatically well. Champagnie sucks ass. He wouldn't start for any team in the NBA. He sucks ass. There's a reason why he was the last player picked up by the Spurs this year. Sam Slynn says, I like it in that the players are sticking with their teams, but it shows that why so many of us were upset that the Spurs not using and or stockpiling picks. Quality players are now more expensive. And it kind of started that way with, I think DeJounte Murray, when the Spurs traded DeJounte Murray to Atlanta, the haul wasn't that great. I remember at the time thinking to myself, we got 3 first rounders in a swap for him. You saw other trades go on that offseason where players like Donovan Mitchell were getting, and Rudy Gobert were getting 7 and 8 first rounders for swaps and things like that. And I was like, well, DeJounte was an all-star just like the year before. Why do we only get 3 and a swap? And actually, one of those 3 first rounders, the Charlotte one's going to go away. So really, we got 2 first rounders, a swap, and a second round pick. Because that Charlotte pick, because it didn't convey 2 years ago, didn't convey this year, and will not convey this upcoming season, it morphs into second rounders at that point. I think 2 second rounders, so which is useless. Second rounders are useless. I don't care about them. So the Spurs for DeJounte Murray essentially got the 2025 unprotected pick, the 26 swap, and the 27 first round pick. At the time, I was pissed because Atlanta was a decent team and Atlanta was getting better with DeJounte, and you would only think that, okay, well, they're going to be a top 10, 12 team in the league. Congratulations. We got a bunch of picks at number 20, 21. And a lot of people were like, well, those are first rounders. Well, we had that a few years ago. Remember a couple seasons ago, we had 3 first rounders and 2 of them were in the 20s. And we got Malachi Branham and Blake Wesley. Raise your hand if you're excited about Malachi Branham and Blake Wesley. Right? Those picks in the 20s don't often pan out. It's the picks that are in the top 15 that are most likely to pan out. Yeah, there'll be a Tyrese Maxey at 21. Yeah, there'll be a DeJounte Murray at 29, a Derek White at 29. But the vast majority of good players in the league were picked in the top 15, top 16. I was wrong in the sense that I didn't realize Atlanta would implode. And I sit here thinking to myself, we have Atlanta's unprotected 25 pick, a swap with them at 26, and they're 27, and realizing that this team is going to implode. I know Vegas is coming out believing that Atlanta is going to be, not the worst team in the league. That Atlanta is going to be somewhere around the 8th or 9th worst team in the league, maybe 10th, and the Spurs might pick around there. I don't see it that way, man. I see Atlanta sucking ass this year. I see Atlanta being one injury away, one Trae Young injury away from being one of the worst teams in the entire league. Am I praying for a Trae Young injury? No. Would I be mad if he got injured? No. And you wouldn't either. I know we're all going to say that we're all cheering for everyone to be healthy and all that stuff. No. Trae Young gets hurt. Spurs fans are going to be happy. Right? Feel bad for him as a person, but as a Spurs fan, is what it is, right? It is what it is. Tony Anales comes out to us. Welcome. Good morning, sir. Says, quote, I changed my mind about Lauri Markkanen. The guy is an injury-prone player. I'm glad the Spurs didn't get him. Interesting. July 26th, what is plan B, he's asking. Lauri's plan is probably over the season, get a shooter, another big. We're done. We have all 15 players. We're done. We're going to be a 35 to 38 win team. We're done. JHNSB coming out and saying those were the same people crying when Don Barlow left. Oh, yeah, the Champagne lovers. Dude, I went to a game last year where I was watching Champagne run up and down the court asking myself the question, what is he doing? He's literally getting Fitbit steps in. Wasn't rebounding, wasn't passing, wasn't shooting, wasn't playing defense. He was getting Fitbit steps. Like, is he trying to get his 10,000 steps? Mexican Junior saying Champagne is a G Leaguer eating up starter minutes on a bad team. If Keldon starts in his place last year, he probably win 30 games. Garrett asking the question about Brandon Ingram and will he want the max? Mario Cavazos. Matt Bonner is still better than Julian Champagne. Mexican Junior. Trae Young gets hurt. We're going to be getting on the parade route on the Riverwalk set. LOL. Yeah, that's right, man. I mean, because who else do they have? Who else does Atlanta have? I mean, let's look at this Atlanta Hawks roster, right? By the way, again, Team France takes the court in about 20 minutes against Canada. Atlanta Hawks roster. Let's take a look at their roster. This is according to basketballreference.com. Their upcoming roster this year. They have Mohamed Guave, Dominic Barlow, Keaton Wallace, Zachary Sarche. Okay, the number 1 overall pick. Okay, but what are we going to expect him as a rookie? Cody Zeller, Onyeka Okongwu, Jalen Johnson. Well, Bogdan Bogdanovic is pretty good. DeAndre Hunter's all right. Larry Nance, Dyson Daniels, David Roddy, Clint Capella, Trae Young. I mean, come on, man. We're a Trae Young injury away from a top 5 pick, man. Book it. Imagine that, man. Imagine the luck Brian Wright would have if we somehow get into the lottery twice. How pissed off would the NBA be if that happened, by the way? Spurs get the 10th worst pick in the league, or 10th worst record in the league, move up in the lottery the way that Atlanta did. Atlanta sucks ass. We get a top 5 pick as a result. Imagine that happening. Bear County thinks that Atlanta will be an ace seed. All I'm saying is that Trae Young gets hurt. Trae Young misses any games. That team's awful. Let me see what Trae Young's durability is, right? Because Trae Young, let's see here. Trae Young has been in the league now for 5 seasons. I mean, last year he just played 54 games. Here are the number of games that he's played in the last several years. 54, 73, 76, 63, 60, and as a rookie, played 81 of 82 games. So to me, that looks like in the last, let's count them up, the last 5 seasons, he has missed 22, 19, that's 41, 6, that's 47, 9, that's 56. So 56 plus 28, 84. He has missed 84 games. More than 80 games in the last 5 seasons. Divide that by 5. He's averaging 16 missed games per year. To say that Trae Young won't get hurt and that won't benefit the Spurs, I mean, it could. It could. There are rumors going out there right now that the Dallas Cowboys might have wait, I like this one real fast before I move over. Garrett, Pistons pick 5 again? Second time in a row, baby. Second time in a row. They have the worst record in the league. Lose the lottery, get pick number 5. Second time in a row. Amazing. Amazing. Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. Someone was mentioning earlier that Dak Prescott has yet to throw a pick in padded practice. Who gives a crap, man? Who gives a crap? There are reports out there this past weekend that the Cowboys are making offers to Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is wanting more guaranteed money, number of years of guaranteed money. It's kind of going back and forth as to how this is all going to happen. I was on TikTok this morning, and I saw a TikTok of all people, Joe Reinagel from San Antonio Sports Star. And Joe Reinagel, good friend of mine, former colleague. I mean, I worked with him over at Sports Star and at Kent's 5. Was going out there saying that he has been in the media, sports media, for 30 years. And Joe was saying that he went to Oxnard and that it was the quietest, most boring, most uninspired crowd that he's ever seen from Cowboy Nation. He was saying that the videos that showed empty seats and empty stands was a little bit overhyped, that it wasn't as bad as the way that it looked. But he was saying there's no inspiration there, that on the field you're not seeing any type of physicality. You're not seeing any type of emotional play on the field. CeeDee Lamb is not there. He's holding out. Dak Prescott is there, but that's looming over the whole franchise right there. Then you go off to Mike McCarthy, head coach. Mike McCarthy is a lame duck head coach. And I know people are coming out like Sid saying, "Hey, Cowboys will make the playoffs." Trust me, I don't see it. I don't see it. I see right now this team going 8-9, 7-10, somewhere around there. They have no running game. They have no running game. They have no pass rush. Well, they have pass rush. They have no rush defense, rather. That injury that they had last week, Sam Williams, was big. That was big because they lost players on the defensive side of the ball. They needed Sam Williams to be out there not only to get minutes, but to start and be a big part of that team. And he's gone. This Cowboys team is circling the drain right now. They ain't going to win crap. There's no team with Kevontae Turpin and Zeke Elliott as your running backs going to do anything. Deuce Vaughn, all those guys. This team sucks. This team absolutely reeks. Tyron Smith is gone. This team sucks. 7-8 wins, 7-10 incoming, dude. And the Texans are going to go over there and beat their ass at Jerry World. Mexican Jr. saying 8-9 is being generous. McCarthy will be gone by game 10. Ooh. After a 4-6 start, it'll be a repeat of Wade's last season. I like the hot take. Mark Cavazos. Cowboys are 1 or 2 defensive tackles away from being a decent defense, but they don't have them. And if they get injured even more, what's going to happen then? The Cowboys draft well, right? They draft okay. Last year's draft, or the year before, rather, this year's time will tell. Mozzie Smith, man, first-round draft pick from last year. What happened to him? Where is he? He better effing show up. He was a bust as a rookie. Jalen Tolbert, their wide receiver that they picked early in the 3rd round, was an absolute bust. He's hoping to make a comeback, though. Or else Cavazos asked about Turpin. I was talking about Deuce and all those guys. Tony coming out and saying, as a Cowboys fan, I hope they don't win one game. Not one game. Somebody needs to make Jerry Jones hater shirts. That's right. Head of a fist saying, we all in, baby. We all in. So the thing about the Cowboys, though, remember back in the day, they had Amari Cooper, and they refused to pay Amari Cooper because he wanted $20 million. Remember? $20 million is too much for a wide receiver, even though he's a top 5 receiver. Not a top 5 receiver anymore, but there are reports out there right now saying that the San Francisco 49ers and the Cleveland Browns are in talks, and they have a template in place for a trade that would send Brandon Ayuk to Cleveland in exchange for Amari Cooper. Now, there's other pieces of the puzzle in there as well. Brandon Ayuk has been holding out because he wants a better deal. Ayuk is the better receiver compared to Cooper. He is. The problem with that is that Ayuk is lost in a shuffle of good players in San Francisco. He doesn't have the stats that he would get anywhere else because he has Deebo Samuel next to him, because he has Christian McCaffrey, to get 2,000 yards behind him. He's got those guys all around. George Kittle. Ayuk cannot display his talents the way that he normally could, even though he is a top 5, top 10 receiver in the NFL. Him going to Cleveland, he'll play with Deshaun Watson. He'll be in cold weather. He's not going to win, but is he in it for winning, or does he want to get the money that he wants to get? And I don't blame him if he wants to get the money. I don't blame him. Sis saying Amari might get traded for Ayuk. Yeah, we're just talking about that. Hand over fist saying Dak on a contract year, he's going to have to get those numbers to get paid. He just has to not get hurt, man. He's going to be getting paid $58, $60 million. He's going to get paid. There's going to be some team out there that's going to pay him. And I think that he'll get a pass because, again, lame duck head coach. I think he'll get a pass because he has no running game. Get a pass because CeeDee Lamb held out. What is he supposed to do? Explain to me how this offense is supposed to be explosive, because it had been explosive in years past when they had Pollard and Zeke, thunder and lightning going on, when they had Gallup healthy along with CD, when you had a decent tight end core, a good offensive line, they were getting the ball up and down the field like crazy, from the 20 to 20 specifically. How can you guys expect, how can Cowboy fans expect Dak Prescott to do anything this year? He has no weapons. He's got CD, and that's it. Mexican Jr. saying the Cowboys' biggest problem is that they have the most unexplosive backfield in the NFL. The Brahmas have a better running game. Dude, I think Judson High School has it, man. David Batista, Cowboys have a chance to make playoffs. The NFC isn't as tough as the AFC. I agree that the AFC is better than the NFC because the AFC has all the quarterbacks. But look at the up-and-coming teams in the NFL, in the NFC, rather. Look at Green Bay. Green Bay, wild card team, went into Jerry World and beat the living crap out of the Cowboys. And they got better. They got Josh Jacobs. They got rid of Jones. They got Josh Jacobs now. They got younger and better. Jordan Love's going to be better. The Lions are a better team now. The Bears have surrounded Caleb Williams with a lot of talent. Dude, I mean, you've got an even better team with the Eagles now. The Eagles got better. What's going to happen with the Commanders? Them getting LSU's quarterback, Jaden Daniels, and going over there. Maybe that's a good quarterback as a rookie. Maybe he pulls a C.J. Stroud. We don't know. It's got the talent. That's a quarterback man. That's where Joe Burrow went. On the other side, the Rams are a better team because they're healthy. They didn't lose last year because they were bad. They lost last year because they were hurt consistently, man. So many players went down. Cooper Kupp went down with an injury. Matt Stafford went down with an injury. Their entire running back core went down with an injury. The Rams are a better team. The Niners are still the Niners, man. They're still the cream of the crop right now. And then you take a look at the NFC South. I mean, would it be shocking if the Saints or the Bucks get a little bit better? Second year with the Derek Carr. He's not a great quarterback, but he's not bad. He's just all right. But his second year with the team, more consistency, not so many injuries, maybe fewer suspensions on that team. And then Baker Mayfield being a better quarterback than what people give him credit for with Tampa. And he got re-upped, got a bigger deal, he has that job security now. He's now the quarterback there at Tampa Bay. He knows he's not going anywhere. Tony reaches out and says, Cowboys are done. Last chance for any window was last year. I hope Dak goes to the Raiders or Giants next season. Those are the two teams that I would say would be the best fits for him. Actually, not the Giants. I think the Jets are the better one. Do some Saints talk. I'll see how the season starts. I'll see where we go from there. Who do you think is going to come out of the NFC, though? Because, famously, we talk about the fact that the Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl since like 96. But the Niners haven't won one since before that. The Niners are more relevant. They get to Super Bowls, but they just don't win them anymore. Houston Texans, though, man. That's going to be an exciting team to watch. You tell me the Texans go 9-8 because they have a bad schedule, I would believe you. You tell me they go 13-4 because Stephon Diggs is the truth and because C.J. Stroud gets better, takes a leap, I would believe you too. That's a team to watch right there is the Texans. That's going to be a fun team to watch. Going to give some love to MCS General Contracting again, by the way, for your needs when it comes to concrete placement. Don't forget about MCS General Contracting. I'm sure we have a commercial that we can play and all that, but the fact of the matter is that I don't understand technology. But MCS General Contracting, again, Chris Leha and the guys, they do a fantastic job. I'm at my house right now. I'm actually looking at their work right now. They did a landing in my backyard. It connects to my covered patio. Then they did a sidewalk along the way because I had some ponding there. It was collecting and possibly could affect the slab and the concrete down there. Put a sidewalk over there. It's been fantastic, man. They do a fantastic job. And also, don't forget to subscribe to Locked On Spurs. Jeff Garcia, Kens5.com. I'm going to be a guest on his show later on this week. Again, Jeff Garcia provides that daily content when it comes to the Spurs. And Mexican Junior reaching out, asking the question, I joined late. Is Joe out today? Joe is out for the month. So you're going to be hanging out with me for a while. The reason is because Joe got a job with the Department of Homeland Security, and that training is requiring him to be there at 8 a.m. every morning. And it's just one of those things where he's got to take care of the family. It's a great job. It's a great opportunity. And very, very proud of him. He reached out this morning to say, hey, Michael, I'm sending you all the information to log on. And at 9:55, I was trying to log in. It took me 20 minutes to figure out how to turn this stream on. I'm glad that it's on. I can see that there are people watching. But Joe is doing a fantastic job. I'm looking at Jeff Garcia's Twitter thread right now. He has an article on Ken.com saying Spurs Devin Vassell took time off from the offseason to give back to his hometown of Sewanee, Georgia, with a basketball camp. So there's an article about that. He's also talking about Lauri Markkanen, how Lauri Markkanen signed a long-term deal with the Utah Jazz. So it's looking more and more like he ain't coming to the Spurs. And I'm sure later on we'll be talking about Wemby, because Wemby's in the quarterfinals today. they tip off right around now. Also going in, his Locked On Spurs episode today is about Stefan Castle and the NBA rookie class. So I'm going to go ahead and repost that. So Tony saying out for a month, injured reserve. Joe Garcia with that, with getting that bag though, man, getting that government bag. I do need to have some co-hosts, man. So Mexican Junior saying you should have some co-hosts. If you want to be a co-host, I would be more than happy to have you guys on the show. Chris Leha, if you want to come on in, John Dyer, Sam Salinas, any of you guys want to come in here, Tony, want to come in and host, be a co-host for the show one day, come on in, baby. I'm more than happy to have it. It's difficult doing a show one-on-one and producing my own show as well, man. Producing my own show. I'll see if I can get Brandon in here before the school year starts as well to see if he'd want to do it. But reach out to me on Twitter, man. DM me. A little promo out for myself. I'm going to give you my phone number. If you guys have any financial needs, the financial needs that I do investments and insurances, by the way. So when I get off the air here, I'm handling. I work with about 14 million in retirement assets. So all my clients, if you added up all their money, about 14 million. If you added up all their insurance money as well, it's about another 16 million. So I manage about 30 million in assets as of right now. I love my job. I'm self-employed. I work with other financial advisors as well. But if anybody has any needs for, old retirement accounts, roll them over or something like that. If you need help with life insurance, disability insurance, long-term care, that is what I do. 210-508-0369. 210-508-0369. Damn, 14 million, baby. Yeah, I need to get to 25. If I get to 25 million, I would be in a very, 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 very good spot when it comes to my own personal retirement. Building a business. I'm hoping one day one of my kids wants to take over. I've been in finance for 19 years, but I didn't really start my business until 4 years ago. The first 15 years I was, working at call centers. I was USAA call center, which I hated. Loved USA as a company, but I hated working there. I was management for financial firms and things like that. And ultimately, COVID forced me into the advisor role all over again. It's something that I can control, and 14 million is what I've done over the last 3 or 4 years. Again, it's somebody's 50,000, somebody's 100,000, somebody's 10,000, somebody's 800,000. You add it all up, it comes up to 14 million. My goal is to get it to 20 million by the end of next year, and to get to 25 million by the end of 2026. And at that point, I can then buy other companies and stuff like that. So look at me, retirement planning, retirement investments, stuff like that, man. Wiki says need to get you connected with some UTSA NIL players. I suppose, but I don't think they're the age group of the people that I'm after. I work with a lot of people in their 40s and 50s. Mexican Junior, if you're into investments, he says you need to watch the show Billions. It'll get you right up here. It's right up your alley. Yeah, there's a lot of shows out there that are like that. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about Billions. What was the show? It was Ballers is what I was thinking of. Ballers with The Rock. And we were talking about buying vehicles. And I have a small truck, man. I have a Toyota Tacoma. And the lease is up in about 5 months. And I'll probably send it on back. And when it comes to like leasing and buying vehicles, I'll never buy a car. I'm not saying that that's financial advice. I'll never buy a car. If I buy a car, it's because I leased it and I really liked it. I love leasing. And The Rock on that show says, if it flies, floats, or Fs, you lease it. You don't buy it. Because never buy a depreciating asset. And that's my take on it. Because I had this long discussion with a friend of mine this weekend. Because she was like, "Are you thinking about getting a nicer car?" And I said, "No." Why? Why would I want to spend so much money on something that depreciates in value when I could put more money into my 401, more money into my IRA, more money towards my kids' college, when I could put more money towards maybe buying a rental property, a timeshare, not timeshare, an Airbnb or whatever. Why would I spend so much money on a vehicle? It's worth less every time I drive it. Now I understand muscle cars though. I understand people who have classic cars, get those Camaros and get those uh Mustangs and they build up those cars. I get those because those are classic cars that keep their value. The second you buy a $70,000 truck and drive it off the lot, it's worth 50. Why would you want to do that? I don't get it. I understand the concept. And people are like, well, we just like nice cars. That's stupid. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'd rather have a nice house. I'd rather have that. Now, there's some people who buy nice trucks and whatnot because they do it for work. I understand that. If you work on a ranch, if you work in a lot of blue collar industries, you do need it. It's actually part of the job is to have that to haul crap around. That I get. But those who are walking around, driving around my neighborhood to $80,000 trucks, when I know they're just taking it back and forth to Lowe's and back and forth to HEB, I don't get, man. I don't get. Hand of a fist. MJ may not be skimming off the top. Oh, come on, man. I'm better than that, baby. You know, it's so funny. There's a website called brokercheck.org. Brokercheck.org. You go in there, you type in the name of a financial advisor, what city they're from. You can see their background. And you can see how many times the client's ever complained about them. Even the best advisors have 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5 complaints. 19 years in the business, 0. Tony O'Donnell saying, I've never leased, so pretty much it's paying rent right up until your lease is up. So what a lease is an agreement that you make with a auto lender, car dealership, and it's usually for brand new cars or maybe cars that are just less than 2 years old. And you specify the number of miles you intend to drive. You can specify whether it be 10,000 a year, 12 or 15. So if you choose a $15,000 mile thing and you lease it for 2 or 3 years, you're saying that you're going to have around 30 or 45 when it's all said and done. If you go over, you pay extra, like 12 cents a mile for every mile that you go over. So you might have a bill of 1,000 or 2 or 3,000 if you go over in the mileage. Or you have the right to buy the car at that time, and if you buy the car at that time, they forgive the mileage, and you just buy it at the stated price from the get-go. So I'll give you an example. My truck was like $40,000 when I leased it, and at the end of 3 years, I'm going to owe 28 on it. I have the option of buying it at that point at 28, or I could give the lease back and get another ride, and if I went over on the miles, I pay the difference. What ends up happening, though, is that there's sometimes vehicles might have a higher resale value than what were actually anticipated. It happened to me one time where I bought a certain price, and it was supposed to be a certain amount when it was all said and done, but because it was worth more than what they thought it was going to be worth, I actually had a profit when it came to it, and they had to pay me in a weird way. They rolled that profit into the next vehicle I was getting. I know that it's not the Latino way to say it. Look at it this way: if it's a lease, it's not my ride. It's not my vehicle. If I have a problem with it, it's their fault to deal with it. It's their problem. As long as I'm going over there for my regular maintenance, it is their problem to deal with. You buy a car and it becomes a lemon, that's your problem. You lease a car, it's a lemon for the first 2 or 3 years. That is their problem. That is their ride. It is they're contractually obligated to take care of it. So if I like a car that I like a lot, I'm going to lease it for 2 or 3 years, see if I really do like the vehicle, and then decide at that point if I want to keep it. And then I get to keep it at a stated price. It's a win-win. Any entertainment news, Michael? Man, entertainment bump. Failed you guys with the entertainment bump. The entertainment news I had was Bone Thugs and Harmonies are badasses, dude. They're badasses. So I don't know if this is entertainment or not, but you know that boxer who was being criticized saying that she beat up on another woman? There was a man beat up on a woman. You do all realize that was all bullshit, right? That she was a woman the entire time, and that was all conservative telling you that was a man because she had manly features. You all realize that, right? Are we all going to go down and apologize to this lady? Oh, well, she beat that girl in 45 minutes because she's transgender. It was a chick all along, man. It was a chick all along. I was watching these articles on these comments on Fox News Channel coming out saying, well, if it looks like a duck and it smells like a... So you're saying that someone has manly features, that it's a man. Really? Really? And then it comes out later on that all of that stuff was nonsense. If all of that is true, that the IOC obviously knows who's a woman, who's a man, right? If all that's true, I hope she goes over to Newsmax, Fox News Channel, all those places, and sues the living shit out of them. Sues the living shit out of them. And how stupid are you to believe that they're going to have men and women competing in the same Olympics? Dummies. Dummies. All of you. Sheep. Dummies. Dummies. All of y'all. Like they didn't know this going into it. Saying the other girl just couldn't take a punch. But she looks like a dude, therefore she is a dude, right? Therefore she is a dude. You know, this reminds me of, I did a high school basketball game a while back. And they wanted me to prove that the other team was 14 years old. Like, how am I going to prove that? You need to somehow show that they're 14. I said, okay, well, show me that your kids are 14. Well, we can't do that. Well, how can I do that for them? Right? So the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, coming out and saying, this is a woman. She competed as a woman for years. No one has complained about anything. But she beats the crap out of somebody, and because she looks the way that she looks, everyone's like, it's got to be a man. It's got to be a man. It's got to be. How fucking insulting was that? And that was conservative media just running around and just being fucking idiots like they always are, man. Jesus Christ, man. You got to know the source, man. IOC's, this is the Olympics. You're telling me that they're not going to know if someone's not a man or not a woman? Shut the fuck up. Golly, man. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's stupid. You know what? Nah, they're never going to admit they're wrong. It's stupid. It's stupid. Next thing, Clayton Clark is a man rumors. That's going to be the next one, right? That's what Tony Analysis is coming out and saying. I don't know, man. It's crazy. The Olympics bring out the best in people, bring out the worst in people. Simone Biles bring out the best in her. She goes and bows down to the person who beat her on the floor exercise, and conservative media gets all up in arms. She's an American. She shouldn't do that. Dude, she's a competitor. She's a competitor. Sit down. Sit down. Settle down. Entertainment news is kind of hard to bring up when it comes to flying solo over here. I did see some videos the other day about some of the athletes at the Olympics that they were sleeping in parks because sleeping on a park bench was better than the Olympic Village. Hello, Fist asking the question, can we have an Olympics hotties brackets? I'm going to go ahead and assume that they play track and field for like Brazil, Colombia. That's what I'm going to assume. Hey, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and call it a show. It's almost 11:30. I want to check out Wemby play. Again, Team USA plays at 2:30. Wemby's taking the court right now. Probably game has already started by now. Joe Garcia will be out the next few days. If somebody wants to co-host with me, I live in West Bexar County. Be more than happy to have you in my home and welcome you into my home to help co-host. So reach out to me, DM me if you're interested. We can maybe make something happen, figure this all out. But again, Joe's going to be out the rest of the month, but he'll be back in time for college football. He'll be back in time for NFL football, and that's when things really get going. Thank you guys for being part of the show. Hit the like button on the way out, and check you guys out tomorrow.